Hello, in this video, we are going to be talking about the Canon Rebel T7. I'm going to go through the main customizing points of the menu section, and we're going to go through the menu tabs so you can specifically make sure you have all of your ISO that's expanded. You have every number and all the flexibility and all the features that the camera has at your disposal and turned on. So we're going to look at the top of the camera right now, and here's your main dial that we talked about before, and it has your automatic modes and it has your semi-automatic and manual modes over here. But we really want to concentrate is on the barrel of the lens where you can zoom. So at 18 millimeters, it's very wide, all the way up for the kit lens, the beginning lens, 18 to 55. We're at 55 over here, so we can start zooming and getting a little bit more detail in there and getting a little bit closer with that lens. We have that stabilizer right here, the switch. We want to have that on so that if you have a slower ISO, you're a little shaky that day, the stabilizer is going to help take care of that movement. So you'll have much more clearer, more steadier pictures that will help you. Here's your autofocus, and over here it would say MF for manual focus. If you don't want the camera to turn and spin, and autofocus over here, flip the switch like for night pictures, and we can have her be at manual focus where she won't try to focus and not take the photo if it's out of focus. So you have that option. Your top menu dial, we already talked about this one, but this is your selector dial up here. So you're going to spin this in either direction to make your choices as you press some of the buttons. So that button is located here. Your picture taken button or the shutter button, you will press this to wake the camera up to sleep if it's sleeping. You can halfway focus with this and keep your finger halfway down and lock your focus, or just take the photo with it. The main thing right now, and the button that we're going to use the most, is the Q button. Once you press this, something will be highlighted. In this case, it's our exposure compensation button here will be highlighted, but you can use your up, down, left, right buttons, land on any of these listed here, and then say set to get in there, and you can make your choices and your changes. These are your everyday usage controls. You will use these the most, some more than others, but these are your go-to everyday controls on the camera. Now, if you don't see this screen this way, you are in the feature guide where you don't have all your options. It's meant to be quicker and easier to use, but you don't have all that flexibility. So what we want you to do is hit your menu button down here, press that, and using your left, right buttons here, I want you to land on the second wrench, yellow wrench, and say set when you get in here, and I want you to actually disable it. Once you disable this, now this screen is going to look the way you want it with all your options and stuff, okay? This isn't the custom menu functions. I have to change this, I apologize. But what we want to do is your autofocus point selections. When you get her out of the box, all of these are going to be lit up orange, which means any combination of these little focusing boxes will actually be lit up to be used to focus. So if you want to really pinpoint your focusing, you're going to go over to this button here with the symbol above it on the top of the camera, this symbol here. Keep that button pressed like it's a shift button on the computer. Spin this dial until you have the middle one selected, but you could have the far left, far right, whichever one of these. By just spinning, you'll see it change. And then if you spin a lot, you'll end up going back to having all of these selected. So it's your choice. Now we're going to get into the custom function settings in the menu part. So we can make our choices. We can customize the camera, make sure you have all the full benefits and full features of the camera. We're going to do the long exposure noise reduction button right now. And this one's important. So I need you to hit the menu button, and you're going to go to the third wrench and locate custom functions right here. Once you land on this, say set, and somewhere along where it says CFN number 2, not sure how accurate it will be on your camera here, but it will say this, and it'll have a number 4. I want you to say okay for the long exposure noise reduction, or say set. To move over and navigate this area, you will be using your right button to keep navigating to the right and move yourself throughout that. Once you're in the long exposure noise reduction, make sure it's on auto. Say set, and it will come back to this right here, this screen again. I need you to keep pressing to the right until you see high ISO speed noise reduction, NR. I'm not sure what the number is. That's why it's grayed out over here, but the little tab will be a number 5. You need to make sure that it's on standard. So once you land on this, say set, and say set again to get inside, and hit and press standard. And then say set one more time, and it will bring you back to the choice here, and we're going to keep moving onward through that custom menu. We're then going to go over to the first wrench now. So we're going to use that left button instead. And I want you to find auto power off. Pick longer than 30 seconds. That's the default. At least I'd say a minute. Then you can work with it. If she sleeps too much for you and you keep pressing that shutter button to wake her up, go ahead and give yourself a little bit more time. But I tell everybody, at least do a minute. Some do 2 minutes to give yourself some breathing room. Now, I also want to talk about this one. On the second tab, you have your LCD brightness, your screen, how you view your pictures, how your pictures are in live view when you press this button, so that you don't use your viewfinder, but you're actually seeing your images through here. What I want you to do is leave this where it is, because if you make it too bright or you make it too dark, it actually changes your image. Once you get on the computer, then your photos could be too bright or too dark, depending on how that LCD brightness is. So we really don't change that, because then your computer monitor, everything is off. When you go to print it, you go to put it online, you're going to see that definite change that you may not have seen while viewing your photo here. Formatting your card. You want to do this when your card is full, when you have downloaded all your pictures and you have 500 or 1,000 or more photos. You're not going to format your card a lot. But if you need to delete 500 pictures, instead of deleting them one at a time, I usually tell everybody, let's format the card. If you have an issue with the card where it's not writing correctly, half of the photo is blurred, or not blurred, but like black or missing or striped, you want to go in and format that card. Usually when your card's brand new, you don't have to, but it might not be a bad thing to format that card. But make sure you have no images on the card, because you will erase them with the snap of the finger. So you will come into the first wrench underneath the auto power off. You will land on format card, say set, and this is where you have your choice. If I change my mind, I hit cancel, but sometimes, the slip of the finger, I don't want to accidentally do that. So I will actually hit my menu button. If I change my mind and I don't want to format my card, I will press that menu button and I will leave it. But if I commit to say okay, it definitely will format your card within seconds, and usually bring it back to spec to box, brand new kind of thing. So if you ever have any issues with your card, do format that. But be careful, make sure you're ready to do it. Image quality. Okay, so I think we've gotten through everything we need to in the yellow camera. Now we want to go into the regular everyday usage red camera tab and do a couple little settings in here. You want to go on to image quality. So right here, how many pictures you have based on the size that you choose here, you will have available on your cart. The lower you go down here, the more you will increase here. But when you're this size, S2 and S3, you're going to be about a 4x6 size photo. You won't be able to do 8x10s. You won't be able to crop the photos. That's why we want to keep you in large. We want to keep you in the smooth pie shape so your pixels are tiny. We don't want to be in the normal with the little stair step. If you have to go down a size, go down a size to the M with the smooth pie shape. You may not be able to crop as much, but you will get a nice 8x10, maybe 11x14. But with the large, it will give you more flexibility. If you are in RAW, you need to have your Canon software installed on your computer. If you do RAW and large, the camera will write both formats, so you will decrease your count of pictures on the card. It will decrease at least by 50%. But the biggest hitch is with RAW here, not all software reads it. So if you don't have the Adobe Photoshop or Adobe Photo Elements, you need to have your Canon software installed on the computer so that you can edit and it can read RAW. Otherwise, you're going to get an error message on your computer. So if you don't have that installed, you'd be better off saving some card space and coming down to the large with the smooth, small pixels, fine quality, fine pie shape, that little shape there. Well, back to pictures. We can also rotate the photo if you want it rotated in the camera. You want it rotated on the computer. So if you do shoot something vertically, it's not running the length this way. It's actually running this way. It's smaller. I don't rotate. I turn mine off. This is personal preference. Again, you say set to get in there, go in and then go up and down, make your choice, and then say set again. This is a good one now. While we're here though, in case I don't know if I have it, and we can always skip over the next tab, image review, I want you to go in here and at least make it 4 seconds. So you'll land on it, you'll say set, go ahead and pick 4 seconds. If you want longer, that's perfectly fine. And then say set again, and it'll bring you back to this screen. But what we do want to do is your auto ISO, which is on your third little red camera. We were on our first little red camera to take care of our image quality and our image review. So now that we're going to go work with this ISO, and in this ISO, we are going to change almost every time we pick up our camera. Since our lighting is low this time of year, you're pretty much going to stay at 3200 ISO. But when you're in auto, you're in any of the auto modes, we want to expand this so the camera uses all the ISOs. You can take pictures in lower light and have no issue. So come on in, say set, land on this, say set, come down and select maximum 6400, hit set, and you will see this listed over here. And then inside here, you will have your ISO numbers. We expanded the ISO last week. So you will see an H, which means that if you double this number, H is 12,800. So you have the most ISOs available that you can pick, or what the camera will use as its maximum. Okay, and there's the image review that we talked about, which is this one. We want you at 4 seconds. It's under the little red camera, the first tab there. Red eye reduction. Okay. When you have your flash up and we're ready to take photos, if you want red eye, or if you find it takes too long and it's distracting or blinding to some people, come down here, say set, and disable it. Or if you want red eye because you experience a lot of red eye in your house, but you can also turn on all the room lights and that'll help reduce the red eye, but you can also enable it, and it's located right here. Auto lighting optimizer. This is going to help you in your shadow areas and not have your bright sunlight highlight areas. Come to the second tab in the camera here. Come down to lighting, auto lighting optimizer, and make sure you're standard, not too much, not too little. If you find you're having an issue in your pictures and you change your ISO and you change your exposure comp and it's not making a change, you would leave this and you would actually turn it off. I have yet to this day over the years have this become an issue where using your exposure comp, going a little bit of plus does not make it brighter, going a little bit of minus does not make the change. I've never experienced that, and I never had people experience it. So that's just to keep an eye out as you're experimenting with your camera, but standard is a very good setting. Will keep you right there. Okay. Shutter release without your card. I have mine turned off because then if I don't have a card in there, the camera will tell me on the screen right here, we can't take photos. It won't, as soon as you press the button to take the photo and you don't have a card, you can't do it. If you leave this turned on, it will hold the picture for a few seconds in the camera's memory, acting as if and showing you a preview here. But when you go to press the button to actually view your photos, that's when it's going to tell you no card, no images. So I recommend turning this off so that when you don't have a card in there, the camera won't do anything and it won't fool you, having you think that you do have a card in there. Live view, we want this enabled so that when you press this button right here, it will go to live view, close off your close off your viewfinder. So now you're looking at the big screen and taking your photos. When you're viewing your photos, you're going to press this button to start viewing your photos. As you're viewing one on the screen like we have here, if you touch the little garbage can, this little blue garbage can, your erase will come up. You can choose to erase that particular photo, or you could hit cancel, and then you would say set. But to continue viewing your photos without worrying about hitting the little garbage can, the last picture you take to move backwards and count down, you would use this one. If you already viewed the first picture, the last picture I should say you took, the last picture, the most recent picture you took, if you want to go back to that, you would click this. So you would use left and right to move throughout your images to see them nice and large over here. In your menu, we could come in here and protect our images. This is where the rotate is. You can erase images. So you can protect images by selecting them. You can also do this in the erase section. It'll look about the same. You can erase them individually, or you could go in and protect all the images on the card. You can erase all the images on the card or in a specific folder, but I would say just format it, make it a lot easier and you don't have to worry about it. So you either have them all. If you don't like one you just took, you can hit the garbage can, trash can, and delete it that way. We really don't work with this one too much, but you can see how you feel about it. But once you erase an image, it's gone. So keep that in mind. And that looks to be all the options in the menu setting. There is one other button though I do want to talk about. When you're viewing your photo and you hit your display button, so we had this nice and large and we're looking at it, we will erase, we will not look at the erase button, but just imagine it's just the image here. If you want to know what you took the photo, how you took the photo, you're going to hit your display button. By hitting that display button, it's going to give you all your specs. What was that shutter speed? Was it 60, 50, or higher? The mode you were in, your ISO. Were you in large or in raw or both? Did you lock the image? Did you protect it? Did we do our exposure comp? We're going to do our lens opening this week, but did you do your lens opening and things? Did you pick your aperture? So it can tell you all your choices, even the day and the time that you took the photo. And if you had the Wi-Fi card, even if the Wi-Fi card is available. If you want to leave this, hit the display again. and that will go away, and you will see your image nice and large on the screen. So keep in mind, you want to get into the menu, you press the menu button to enter, you press the menu button to leave it. You want to be in live view, you press the live view button in to start it, you press the live view button to stop. For doing video, the little red dot here on the top, you'll see a little video camera up here on the top, and I can show you in a second. This is for recording video through this screen only. That's when the camera does video. This little light lights up saying it's writing to the card. And this is another choice for autofocus, but we will get through that. Even with your Q button, press your Q button to get in to see all your choices here. Press your Q button to get out. Press this to view your pictures, press it to get out. If you forget though, you can actually tap your picture taken button located right on the top here. You can also press that. That'll get you out of your queue. That'll get you out of viewing your photos. I think we've even done it in the menus part. So here's just all the little tips and things for navigating and setting your camera in the menu. If you have any questions, let me know and we can talk about it in class. Thank you, and run the video as many times as you need to have all your buttons and things set up. Thank you and have a good one.